Well, now to our weekly panel exploring what's making news around the world. I'm joined by Sky News contributor Kosha Gada and former Labor MP Michael Danby. Welcome to you both. For weeks, President Trump has talked up a military parade in Washington, D.C. Who doesn't love a parade? It's meant to be held this weekend to celebrate both the Army's birthday and his own. He says it will be an unforgettable spectacle with tanks, fireworks and flyovers, but given the unrest which is spreading from LA, the timing isn't great to say the least. Kosha, how likely is it, given what's playing out domestically, that Trump might pull the pin to avoid any backlash?
Great to be with you, James. I think it is highly unlikely that he will pull the pin because timing is everything, yes. And I think he's looking at it as the timing of the 250th birthday of the Army, as you said, supersedes. That's the bigger argument or the bigger timing that he wants to really underline and underscore here, as opposed to what's happening domestically. He's also very pro-military, and the last large-scale parade of the U.S. military was in 1991 after Operation Desert Storm. And while the brand of the military has diminished and recruitment has been a challenge, he has turned it around, he and his administration. And so I think he sees this as a very good opportunity, together with the 250th birthday, to do this. And he understands spectacle and creating iconic media better than anybody. So I think he will charge ahead. He won't be discouraged, which is what happened in the first term. He wanted to do this. I think this time he's going to stick with it.
I hope he does. You don't let rioters determine the program for the rest of the country. Meanwhile, an international survey has revealed most Australians find Trump arrogant, dangerous and a threat to the global economy. The US-based Pew Research Centre's annual survey of global attitudes actually found only voters in Sweden had stronger anti-Trump views than Australians. Michael Danby, what do you put that down to?
It's a problem, James. It's the perception. I think the media coverage of the Trump administration is almost entirely negative. You get mixed views here on Sky or in the Australian, but it's leading to a drift in public sentiments in both countries. Most Americans don't support illegal immigration. There are 15 million that Biden led into America, and they support these deportations, but you'd never know that from the coverage in Australia. And of course, the anti-ANZUS, the anti-American alliance mob, clapping their hands and kicking their heels. They're hoping that this drift in public perceptions will sabotage the submarine deal between our two great countries.
Just before we move on, I want to get your thoughts, Kosha. Are you surprised at the level of antipathy in this country towards Donald Trump?
A bit, and I think with all due respect to my Australian friends, I think that poll is a reflection on Australians as much as it is on Trump. I think, as Michael said, it's a reflection of the media coverage. And I think it's a little bit unfortunate because as an English-speaking country, Australians have access to wide-ranging media from other sources as well. And I hope as media continues to get more democratized and other voices and channels get out there, maybe this will improve. But Trump derangement syndrome, as they call it, is a strong thing. So it's hard to combat once it takes root.
It certainly is. Australian companies with business interests in 2 Israeli departments have been instructed to consider seeking legal advice on whether they're at risk of facing multi-million-dollar fines enforced for breaches of sanctions against the 2 Israeli government ministers responsible for those departments. Michael, I'm particularly interested in your view on this because you, along with the late Kimberly Kitchen, were the architect of the sanctions or the laws that allow the sanctions that Penny Wong has instituted. But you've come out pretty strongly today saying this is not the way those laws were designed to be used. Help me understand what's going on here and your objection.
The laws were designed to give leverage to people with human rights or corruption problems in autocracies where they don't have the rule of law or elections like they do in Israel or France or Canada or even Indonesia. So this is a misuse and an interference in another country's elections. Loudmouths like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir should be dealt with by Israelis in the Israeli courts, in the Knesset, and in the forthcoming elections, where I suspect their support is going to diminish. But you just have to extrapolate it, James, to Indonesia or France. Imagine Mrs. Le Pen is elected and we put a travel ban on her because of her critical views on immigration, or we don't like some of the human rights abuses in Indonesia, so he put a ban on Prabowo. No, this is not the way it was meant to be done. And Kimber's view was that it should be done to affect autocracies where people don't have the same rights that we do have here in Australia.
I want to go back to the US for a moment. We witnessed the bromance between Elon Musk and the president implode last week, with both men having a crack at each other publicly. But now Musk has backtracked, saying he went too far with some of his tweets. Kosha, the real story here, though, that I want to hear about is the role of the Vice President, J.D. Vance, who reportedly played a pivotal role in brokering peace. He's positioned himself as both an attack dog for the White House, but also a bit of a problem solver. How influential is Vance shaping up to be, not just as Trump's running mate, but potentially as his ideological heir?
All reports seem to be that he is the rising star in the party, certainly the ideological heir in terms of MAGA and populism. His roots are deep from there. Everybody knows his story, where he's come out of the working class of Appalachia and had an amazing personal story. So his bona fides are strong there. He also has ties to Silicon Valley. He worked there for a little bit. He can do the tech speak with the tech right, as well as other constituencies. That said, as we all know, even a week is a lifetime in politics, let alone 3+ years. So the Republican bench is deep. He will face other challengers in the primary, I'm sure, but at this point in time, his stock is certainly rising.
All right, I want to finish with some sad news, the death of Beach Boys frontman Brian Wilson. He led arguably one of the greatest bands in the world, certainly was known for creating one of the best albums ever with Pet Sounds. Here's a little taste of my favourite Beach Boys tune. All right, we've got 30 seconds to get your favourite Beach Boys song. Michael, I'll start with you. What is it?
Surfing USA and Barbara Ann. They're the two. I can still sing Barbara Ann. I'm not sure about
Please don't, Michael. Kosha, very quickly, what's your favourite?
Surfing USA. Michael took the words out of my mouth. We're aligned.
Very good. Kosha, Michael, thank you for joining me tonight.